Having a strong personal brand is super important for making your business successful in the long run. In the long run. And my goal with this video is to explain why this statement is true. I want you to walk away from this video understanding the power of your personal brand as a strategy to build a successful business, YouTube channel, make six figures online, or whatever it is you aspire to achieve. So, where should we start? I would like to start with a simple idea that the bigger your personal brand gets over time, the better your business will do over time as well. Essentially, your personal brand is like maybe it's like the nucleus. It's like in the center. Your personal brand should be. That's what I'm trying to like convince you of if you're not convinced yet. Your personal brand should be your primary focus right now and in the center of everything it is you're trying to build. Let's take a moment to kind of like define what a personal brand is. Um, a personal brand is how others perceive you, and it is shaped by interactions. And that means, like, perhaps you've heard you already have a personal brand, and you could be wondering to yourself, no, I don't. I've never intentionally built one. Well, that's the thing. Whatever experiences or interactions anyone has had with you up until this point kind of shape what your personal brand is. And that's the thing. A simple definition of a personal brand is a combination of these different interactions and experiences that one has with you. Excuse me if I just repeated that, but yeah, that's pretty much what it is. Um, a personal brand is largely tied to your reputation. That may be another familiar word to use in this case. And essentially, your reputation is what people think and feel about you based on the experiences, the interactions that they have had with you. So, have you ever heard? I'm sure you've heard of the word like a perception, how you perceive something. Perception, perceive, that is like your point of view, how you're looking at something. And that your personal brand is taking on the point of view of others in regards to yourself. So it's not really, um, it's like you can have an idea in your mind of what your personal brand is. Like you may be aware of the vibe that you're trying to give off, but perception is subjective. Perception will be different through everyone else, through everyone's lens. And you can't necessarily have complete influence on someone's perception, but there is certain things that you can do to influence how others perceive you. To there is certain things that you can do to make sure the experiences and interactions that people have with you align closely with the perception that you want people to have of you. And we'll get into that later on in this video. Um, your brand represents, I guess what I'm about to say is just kind of summarizing what we talked about and up until this point in terms of defining a personal brand. Your personal brand represents the overall impression that someone in the eyes of others. Let me repeat that again. Your personal brand represents the overall impression that in the eyes of others. And I think it's important to dial in on the phrase of overall impression because it's not just one instance that defines your personal brand. It's multiple things, multiple instances, multiple experiences, multiple interactions that make up your personal brand. I'm sure we've all heard, and maybe you haven't, first impressions are everything. And I only bring up that phrase to just kind of provide like these vocabulary words I'm using in a context that may be more familiar. Your first impression is everything. And this is not the time to debate if that's true or not. But in that phrase that is more commonly used, more commonly heard, your first impression is everything. It's just about your, if you take away first impression and just say your impressions are everything. That's why it's worth taking the time to be intentional about building your personal brand because all the impressions that someone has with you will mean a lot later down the line, especially in regards to the success of your business. Your personal brand is what people think and feel about you or your business based on their experiences and perceptions. And this slide, again, just summarizes what we kind of just got into here. Let's move on to talking about I want to talk a little bit about vision and mission statements, or, we can leave the statement part out of it, but I want to talk about vision and mission in regards to your personal brand. Your vision and your mission is something you may be familiar with crafting in terms of your business, but having a vision of your personal brand and having a mission for your personal brand is just as important. In the context of vision, it's very helpful for you to be aware of how you want to be perceived. And this is going to tie right back into when we were defining what a personal brand is. You want to know how you want to be perceived so that when you're crafting experiences, interactions, impressions for someone to have with you, you can be very strategic in how those interactions go. You have to know kind of like what is the vision? What vision do you want others to have of you in their mind? And what is the vision that you want to have of yourself in your mind? Because if you know the vision that you want to have of yourself, you can be more intentional about doing things that create that vision in other people's mind. Let's talk about like the counter of this when you're not intentional with the vision you want to have, the vision of you that you would like to be in other people's minds. I'm going to use myself as an example. In a recent video, I talked about how I'm tired of looking a mess. And one of those reasons that I'm tired of looking a mess is because a disheveled look, a look that gives off that I don't prioritize how I'm put together, does not represent me and doesn't represent the vision that I want others to have of me. But as we talked about earlier, your personal brand is the interactions, experience, etc., that someone has with you. So if someone constantly clicks on to my videos and I'm looking a mess, for lack of better words, that becomes a part of my personal brand. But that's not how I actually want to be perceived. So I'm on a journey to ensure that I look put together basically 24/7, because that is in alignment with the vision I have of myself. And therefore, that is the vision I would like others to carry in their mind. So I hope that is clear. Um, in terms of mission, um, people connect emotionally to a mission. Even though this is a personal brand, you want to be aware of something called your lighthouse strategy. And this is something that I've touched on before, but I need to talk about it specifically in this context. When it comes to the lighthouse strategy, I talked about it in reference to your content creation and niching and everything like that. But when the sailors and everybody is out at sea, the lighthouse provides direction to where they're going. And your mission statement should stand as a direction to where you're leading and inspiring people to go with the content that you put out, everything that you do in regards to your personal brand. So your mission is simply, where are you leading people towards? Like, what is that thing that you're here? Like, what is the purpose? What is the ultimate purpose of the things that you do online? And we can just keep it in the online space, but of course that works offline as well. But essentially, it's just the purpose, the why, the reason that people should want to even interact with you. It always goes back to interactions, impressions, and experiences. Why should anyone want to engage with you? All of those words are synops. I can't say that word, but I'm trying to say the word like synopsis. I just can't say that word, but all of them are synonyms of each other. And your mission should be a very clear, succinct messaging in your mind for why people should want to engage with you in the first place. Let's see what is being said here. Hannah says, "Hey, girly, just saw you were live, sending you support today. I never heard of the lighthouse strategy. Thank you for explaining it. I know my lighthouse purpose is to educate the 98% of the deaf community who have not had access to the gospel, strengthening the 2% who do." And I like that Hannah is sharing this with us, because this is a clear guiding purpose for what she is creating with her content. Like I said, it's with everything, the different aspects of your personal brand. You want to have that one mission statement, that one lighthouse strategy, whatever you want to call it. But ultimately, you need to know the direction where you are leading people towards. No one wants to, if in the age of social media, support, however you want to call them, supporters, followers, subscribers, no one wants to follow somebody that has no direction. And when it comes to your personal brand, you need to be very clear on the direction that you are bringing people, because that is what is going to just spark emotion in them and make that person want to follow you wherever it is that kind of your journey takes you. So there's that, right? Let's talk about something called the power of association. Now, this is a tricky topic to explain, so please listen closely and please try to bear with me and follow along as I try to explain the power of association. Essentially, the power of association is leveraging positive associations to drive engagement with your personal brand. Okay? That's what it is in the most simplest form. Leveraging positive associations to drive engagement with you, with your personal brand. And ultimately, a personal brand, like we have talked about, is built upon association. So let's break this down. What does this even mean? People tend to be familiar with, like, they can see your face, or maybe you have a logo for your personal brand. Perhaps you have products or plan to sell products or a service, right? You have like the tangible things that you can show someone. Hey, you could pull up your phone and be like, hey, this is my personal brand. Look, those are things that's easily saw with the eye. So that's the first like point of contact that someone has when interacting with your brand, the things that they can see up front. Cool. But there's things that they don't know, or the kind of intangible things, such as your values and the qualities of your brand. I'm not sure if Hannah is here with us still, but it would be great if you can share, if you know off the top of your head, some of the values and qualities of the brand that you're building. But you may think your personal brand, some of those qualities could be you're empowering, you like to encourage people, you want to do this and that. Like, just think of these types of qualities. People have certain qualities that you're attracted to, right? That's what I'm referring to here. So the power of association is taking the thing like a logo, what people again know up front is what they can see automatically, and associating that with things that they don't know, the values and the qualities of your personal brand. Hannah says, I know some values are to love everyone like God does. I want to spread kindness, love, and encouragement. I think this is a great example of qualities, values. She says also providing a safe space for people to ask questions. This is like the heart of the brand that Hannah is building. So you want to be aware of what is the heart of your brand. What is that goodness on the inside? Right now, the analogy that's coming to mind is like some type of dessert or pastry that has like a filling in the middle. Me personally, I'm not the biggest fan of Boston cream donuts, but this is the analogy that's coming to mind. You see the donut on the outside, it looks good. It looks great. Think of the donut, the Boston cream donut, as like the logo, like it's something sees up front. When you bite into it, you're hit with this filling of flavor, sweetness, whatever. You're hit with that inner part that you weren't able to see just by looking at the donut. That inner gooey goodness, sweetness is your values and your qualities of your brand. So in a traditional business plan, usually there's a section in there that asks you to define the values of your company, of your business that you're building. And the same thing applies to content creation. I mean, the same thing applies to your personal brand, because People can see you on the internet. They may have some familiarity with what you sell, whether that's a product or a service, but they aren't clear with the intrinsic values and qualities that come along with your brand. And the power of brand of what is it called? Sorry. The power of association is being super intentional about linking these two things, what's on the outside with what's on the inside, that link and that connection. I hope that makes sense. Justin says, it's taken me months to come up with my mission statement, and I'm still tweaking it to this day. I think that is so real and honest, and I'm sure a lot of us have struggled with getting clear on that mission statement, on that thing that will guide all the decisions we make in terms of building our personal brand. Okay, wonderful. And hello, Justin. Thank you for being here with me. So let's use Mr. Alex Hormozy as an example. I think Alex Hormozy is a fantastic example because he has provided so much value online, and he constantly is wearing his company's logo in his personal branding. But Alex Hormozy is a great example because in his personal brand, he's provided so much value that now people associate acquisition.com with the value that he's provided, with the qualities that he exemplifies, with what's that other word we were using? Oh, it's just values and qualities. Yeah, like people associate his company with the attributes that he's been given off in his personal brand. And I think he's also a great example because he didn't like lead with acquisition.com and hey, we're acquisition.com and we're doing this and we're doing that. Like he understood the fact that people connect with people, right? And he took his personality and just really showcased that while at the same time providing value. And again, now when you see acquisition.com, he gave an example that he said this. Now, when my team goes out to the airport and is wearing a hat that says acquisition.com, people are like, dude, can I buy that hat from you? This illustrates how his personal brand has influenced the perceived value of his company merchandise in that particular example. But I'm just trying to say, like, if people saw acquisition.com, just the logo in itself, they wouldn't understand the value and the qualities of that company without the prolific content creation that Alex Hormozy has made up until this point. Alex's personal brand became linked with his company, acquisition.com, increasing its perceived value. This has also been the case for many other people. Just thinking of different content creators, I'm not 100% too familiar with Emma Chamberlain, but I know she is someone that started as a YouTuber, right? Like she was a content creator and became a very big content creator. So essentially, she established her personal brand. Then she came out with her business, which is Chamberlain Coffee. She did not start her personal brand and then start her YouTube channel and then 2 days later came out with a company. That probably would not have been in her best interest. And the point that I'm trying to make is Emma built up a community, built up an audience, built up a name for herself. Certain values and qualities were attached to Emma through her personal brand that she built. So when she dropped Chamberlain Coffee, people can get coffee from anywhere, right? But they're buying into that value and those qualities that Emma represents, and they're going off of that feeling. And if they buy that coffee and they drink that coffee, they feel connected to those different qualities that they've associated with Emma and now want to associate with themselves. Like, I feel like this is one of the hardest topics to explain, but I'm doing the best that I can, guys. I'm doing the best that I can. Let's talk about some other examples. So there's success stories like The Rock and Huda Beauty show how personal brands can lead to business success. The Rock, he came out with Terramana, the tequila brand. And I don't know too much about The Rock, but we all know who The Rock is, right? And that's because he's built his personal brand over years. I remember watching wrestling with my dad on the slight few occasions. I knew that The Rock was one of his favorite wrestlers at the very minimum. And that was when I was very, very young. Then he started to be in the movies and, dibble and dabble and all these different things. When he dropped Terramana, came out with Terramana, it quickly became $1 million company. And with Huda Beauty, with Huda Beauty, she was a YouTuber as well. She was big in the beauty guru side of YouTube and followed a natural progression where eventually she came out with her own makeup line. Till this day, Huda Beauty is sold in Sephora. And the point, again, I'm trying to show that if you focus on building your personal brand, you can have business success later down the line. Huda Beauty is $1 million company. If anyone here watching knows of any other creators or anyone else who they've seen work on their personal brand first, then drop a business later down the line, and it has been highly successful, I would love to hear from you guys as well. The next place that I want to go with this is just talking about how us as content creators, us as entrepreneurs can strengthen our personal brands. Because I honestly feel like taking this strategy to use your personal brand to build a successful business in the long run, I don't feel like it's broken down enough on how to actually do that. But one of the top ways to do this really aligns with the example I was sharing earlier about Alex Hormozi and the consistency he has with delivering value and quality through his content. I feel as though that is one of the best ways to strengthen your personal brand. And If that's something you're currently doing, if you're currently working on your content creation, and improving it, you're already like one step closer. And it for me, like when I think about it, I'm doing content creation for many reasons, but a large one for me is to have a successful business in the future. So I'm really working on my ability to create, to offer value within my content and really showcase my expertise in a certain area. Speaking of certain area, I think when it comes to strengthening your personal brand, choosing a niche, or if you want to just put it as being clear on what you want to be known for. Being clear on what you want to be known for will really allow you to kind of dial in on how you provide value. Um, Another way to strengthen your personal brand is to actively engage with your audience and build authentic relationships. Going back to the topic of like associations, um, who you're associated with can be very beneficial to the growth of your personal brand and your business brand. And I think even if you're a smaller creator, even if you're in the beginning, you haven't even started to intentionally strengthen your personal brand, you can use the power of networking early on. Like that's networking is free in a sense. Like you don't need to be a monetized creator, you need to be making money online in order to network and create some positive associations within your network. Um, who you know or who you decide to network with, right? It can expand your audience. You never know. Well, I don't want to say that, but I want to say like if you're intentional about who you're associating yourself with, you can intentionally put yourself in front of like leverage other people's audiences. That's what I'm trying to get at right now and what I'm saying right now. You can potentially leverage other people's audiences if you're strategic about who you're associating yourself with. And it's not to be doing it in a sneaky type of way or like a opportunistic type of way. The point is like there's other people you should be like building horizontally, building across. It's not only about networking up and like trying to get up on with someone above you. Think about who's next to you, who's in the race with you right now. Um, who's in the race with you right now? If you network with people in that's in your area, in your niche, that if you network with people that want to be known for similar things that you want to be known for, and you get yourself in front of their audience, now you've given yourself the opportunity to expand your own audience. And that's what I'm trying to say. It took a little work to get the words out of my mouth, but just to kind of quickly recap that part, you gotta rub elbows with who's next to you in the fight right now, which can sometimes be hard to find. From my own experience, it's been hard to find people who's as passionate as I am about my particular niche. But I'm gonna find them one day and I'm gonna work with them. Have any of you guys heard of April Lean? I don't know her last name. April Lean. She has the April Lynn, something like that. She has that how to create killer thumbnails videos, how to blow up your channel, create killer titles, right? I heard something recently about her YouTube growth journey. And a part of the reason that her channels did well and she was able to like skyrocket her success was she partnered up with a content creator who is in a different niche, but she had a lot of passion about growing on YouTube. Savvy, babe, baby. I'm sorry, I'm trying to wake up my husband. Savvy. Okay, I'm sorry. Sorry, guys. My daughter, she was trying to wake up. But what was I saying? Yeah, April Lynn, she linked up with someone who was just as passionate about growing on YouTube. And basically they shared all the tips and knowledge in between each other. And two heads are better than one type of mentality. Four heads are better than one. We got to network with people that's on the same journey or race as us, and it will help us in the long run. Give me one moment. Okay. So, sorry, guys. What are you guys saying? Let's take a moment. So, we were just talking about you got to network with people and just network. And let's just regroup. Can we regroup for a second? We're talking about strengthening your personal brand. How can you do that? And I just covered one of the ways you can do that is actively engaging with your audience and building authentic relationships. Hannah, for her particular niche, she is working on drafting an email to send out to churches to let them know about her deaf ministry channel. That is a very intentional way to network and use different associations. I'm sorry, guys, I got a little bit flustered. Sapphire, she says, I opened the app and boom, your live was recommended. Happy to see you doing this. Thank you, sis. Jakey says, I'm up late. Yes. Yes. Okay. So I'll get back to the comments in a second, but I want to move on to my last point on this topic of strengthening your personal brand. You want to continuously monitor and adapt your personal brand strategy to align with your business goals and your target audience. So if you want to build a successful business in the long run, it's going to help to keep in mind what your vision is for your business. Even if you don't necessarily know, just the fact that you understand, I want to make a business out of this, out of everything that I'm doing later down the line, is going to positively influence your decision making. And again, like I was saying earlier, is going to allow you to be very intentional about the associations that you have and the associations that you're creating. Like, your personal brand should have some type of connection to the values and qualities of whatever your future business is. And you want to be imparting those values and qualities onto the audience that you're growing, so that when you pop up on the scene with your business, they're already going to be so much more excited about your business because you've been giving them that. You remember my analogy about the Boston cream donut and that good to some, but that filling on the inside? You've been sharing that out this whole time. So now it's not going to be something the process of getting to know your business will be much smoother because you've been basically sharing the guts of your business with your audience the whole time through your personal brand. This gives me a little moment about something that I want to talk about. How many of you guys have been on Instagram, been on social media, and you are following someone, and then out of nowhere, they're talking about they have a business and they're starting to kind of spam you with their business content? Perhaps you even done it yourself. I feel like there's a time where I might have done that on my own social media platforms. It's a very odd transition in a sense of like, how can you now expect people to fuck with your business, for lack of better words, when it just came out of nowhere and you're just now trying to push it on people? If you are intentional about building your personal brand and basically giving out the qualities of your business through who you are as a person, because again, people connect with people. If you're intentional about that all the way leading up to the launch of your business, you'll have more of a smooth transition. You're not going to come off like, whoa, where did this come from? The essence and the feeling of your business will complement the essence and the feeling of your personal brand, and getting your current audience or your current following to um, want to associate with your brand will be much easier. It will be much easier. So just keep that in mind. Um, let's see here. Let's talk about, oh, hold on. Before we get into this, Sapphire has something to say. I think people try to build their following, then push their business. That's why sometimes they'll have a high following engagement. They'll have a high following and the engagement doesn't match up. I think people try to build their following, then push their business. Well, that's kind of what I'm trying to say, in a sense of like, you do want to build, your following before you launch a business. That's what I think. But you want to build your following in a way that when you launch your business, it's not completely different from what your personal brand was representing. And that's like, I think, the disconnect for a lot of people. Like a lot of people, not everyone, but a lot of people just don't really um, have like a seamless transition from their personal brand into their business brand. And I hope with this video, I'm providing ways to make that transition a bit more seamless. Yes. And Sapphire says, I agree with you 100%. Thank you. But we have a take here from Jakey Wakey. He says, or I'm not sure, they say that I guess it depends on what you are trying to sell. YouTube isn't really for selling. Let's talk about this for a minute. I 100% agree with you. YouTube isn't for selling. It's definitely not for selling overtly. Those that get on here and try to sell, like be like too salesy, they often, kind of like what Sapphire says, the engagement doesn't match up. Like people are turned off by that. People are definitely turned off by being like that salesman vibe on YouTube, because again, people connect with people. So for me, in my own personal strategy, I don't really plan to uh be super, hey, I have a business, this is my business type of thing. I tried that way and it was awkward and it was unsuccessful, and I'm not going to do that again. People connect with people. And I will be talking about like, how do you create, if that's the case, then how does a business build their brand through content creation if people connect with people? It's a really tricky thing to do, but you have to basically personify your business brand. And we don't have to get into that now. But you you don't want to ever come off too salesy when it comes to content creation. You want to the perfect way. I've been kind of talking about this a little bit often, but the perfect way to put it is like, don't sell the product, sell the lifestyle. When it comes to content creation for your business in the future, it should probably focus on the lifestyle and just the different that word associations comes up. You can have a product, you can have a service, but people don't necessarily care about that. You want to use your content creation to show the lifestyle or the benefits or the vibe that them engaging with that product or service will offer to them. So um we were going to get into something. You are your own product. You are your own product. And this is something that I got from my husband. We were having a conversation and he said this. And it really struck something within me because in the world of like personal branding or like hold on, sorry. Just like with any successful brand, your reputation, your values, the associations you create are what set you apart. So similar to a product in the market, this iPhone right here, there's it's built. Apple has built a certain reputation. There's certain values that come along with the iPhone, and there's certain associations that set this phone apart from any other phone on the market. And you kind of have to think of yourself in the same way. And um, that's why I said, like, I'm sorry, I lost my train of thought, but that's why earlier when I was talking about the importance of having a vision for your personal brand and the importance of having a mission and being clear on the values of your personal brand is because that's what's going to keep you focused in your content creation to make sure you're not being like anybody else and you're staying in your own unique lane so that people like your true audience, your true fans who eventually will be your potential customers will connect with you. And by investing in creating a strong personal brand, you're laying the foundation for future success in your business endeavors. I hope like the examples that I've shared kind of show that the bigger your personal brand gets, the better your business will do. If you put focus and energy in building your personal brand, I'm not saying you won't have to do marketing. I won't say that you won't have to um, establish a business brand, but it's just going to be easier for you because who you are and who you've intentionally crafted for people to perceive you as will be the same as they perceive your business. And you want to leverage that. You want to take advantage of that. It's kind of like, it's kind of a longer road to success. I know for me, when I first started in entrepreneurship, I wanted to, like, I didn't really care about my personal brand. I'm like, it doesn't have anything to do with me. I want people to know my business and I want to just put my business out there. But that was me not understanding the concept of like people connect with people. They don't connect with businesses or brands. And the brands that you do connect with, that was established over years of time. And why in commercials do these bigger brands use celebrities? Because we know those celebrities and we connect with those celebrities. So now if they associate themselves with a certain celebrity, then we will feel like we need to associate ourselves with that product and vice versa. I don't know if any of y'all watch basketball, but Think of any celebrity or NBA player who's had a crazy scandal. What usually happens? All their brand deals, poof, gone. They go away because that brand no longer can be associated with your messy ass. That's what they say. They say, get the hell out of here. You're a bad look for our company. On to the next person. We cannot associate with you because if we associate with you, our customer thinks we're coming along for that foolishness. And that's not how it works. So I'm saying all that to say, like, um, actually, Hannah brought up an example. Sarah Vay, the skincare company, partnering with Michael. Sarah cracks me up. It's my favorite partnership ever. Like, look at that. I don't even know who Michael Sarah is, but this is a perfect example of these bigger brands who don't have a face of their company for real. They have to use other people's faces in order to really get into the hearts and minds of potential customers. And it's just kind of vice versa. If you're building a personal brand, your face and everything that you got going on will be beneficial to your business. That essentially, when you put your business on the map, no one knows your business. And I was talking about my personal story, like what my business was, like no one knew what it was about. Like it was so unfamiliar to them. And I felt like I was working against like a current, like two magnets when you put like maybe the positive and positive side, it repels or whatever. I feel like I was doing that when I was just trying to lead with my business. And like I said, it was unsuccessful. So now in my strategy, I'm making sure to build a strong personal brand so that I can drop my business way out in the future and the audience that I have will be far more receptive to it. Also, it's like when you start a business and you have no audience, you're going to have to work 10 times harder to get eyeballs on your company. So why not use your personal brand to like get those eyeballs set in motion? So when you're ready, it's like, boom, it's here. An example that's coming up for me actually is Beyonce's hairline. I think I wish I used that example from the beginning. Why is it that Beyonce can come out with a hairline? And I don't know what the numbers are doing with that now, but I'm assuming she's already made $1 million in sales. It could be a crazy assumption, but I'm assuming Sacred has made $1 million in sales. And why is that? Because Beyonce is Beyonce. Beyonce has been building her personal brand for forever. So she could do something like she could drop that on us. And so many people are gonna flock, even with I won't get into the Renaissance tour, but that was just an example that came to mind. Jakey Wakey says, I say that about selling on YouTube, but my entire last video is trying to sell my freebie in a silly way. YouTube is hard. Yeah, the thing about selling on YouTube, it takes a lot of creativity. It really does take a lot of creativity. Um, on this topic of you are your own product, you really, if you're not doing it right now, you got to start crafting your brand story. One thing that we can learn from bigger brands, Coca-Cola, Colgate, Nike, you name it. These bigger brands know they don't have true faces of their company, but what they relied on was their brand story. Do you know your brand story? Are you using the power of storytelling to connect with your audience? Because if you're not, it's a missed opportunity. Um, Story branding is in the skill set of YouTube and content creation and building a personal brand. I think story branding is one of the hardest ones. But when you realize you are your own product, the possibilities are endless. They truly are endless. If anyone watching has any thoughts on this idea of you are your own product, I would love to hear them. For me, it's kind of like, have you ever heard people say you're a walking billboard? Like if you ever wore maybe like a designer brand or something, there's like this controversial thing sometimes on people who wear overt designer clothing, where it says the logo everywhere. Like they have the logos all over themselves. I've heard people refer to those kind of people as walking billboards for those brands that they're showcasing, right? I bring that up to say, like, are you going to be a walking billboard for yourself? Are you going to be a walking billboard for your own brand that you're building later down the line? You know how before I use this example of Alex Hermosi and how he wears his own company's logo and stuff. I'm not saying that that's what you have to do in order to be your own billboard, but I'm using that as an example to say, like, how are you going to embody this fact that you are your own product? I think it's just something to think about. Um, yeah. So if no one has anything else to share on this topic, I think that this was really refreshing to me because it could be hard to come up with a roadmap to being a successful business owner, come up with a roadmap to being a successful entrepreneur. But I found taking on the strategy of using your personal brand to get you there, it just kind of, even though this road will be hard, it just provides like some guidelines on how to get there. Jakey Wakey says, you are more the billboard than the product. The product is something you make or do in exchange for money. If you are the product, then you're likely doing sponsored posts. Okay, that's an interesting take on that. That's an interesting take. This is an interesting take here. Well, I'm happy that either way, if you want to look at yourself as the billboard or your own product, the analogy may work for different people in these different kind of options. But I think that the gist of what I'm saying is felt. Um, but yeah, like having a strong personal brand is super important for making your business successful in the long run. And that's ultimately the takeaway of today's video. I thank you so much for rocking with me, working with me as I got out these thoughts on this. It was really hard to get out, but I hope you can take something away for your own journey. So thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you in my next video.